Hey everyone. A while ago I finished watching the next episode of Lightspeed Rescue, Up to the Challenge. It was a pretty decent episode. It's a focus episode for Chad, the Blue Ranger, finally, so that's really cool. He hasn't had really much to do up till this point. He's had a few lines here and there, but nothing really gives us a feel for his personality like this episode does. This episode does a really good job of trying to show who he is, a little bit about him anyway. Him and Kelsey, the Yellow Ranger, are up at this pagoda. I think that's what it's called, like that Asian-style building. It's, I'm pretty sure, the same one from VR Troopers that Ryan is at the beginning of every episode thinking about his father. So anyway, they're up there doing Tai Chi. Kelsey doesn't really get it, and her and Chad have a little back-and-forth playful argument. Then a motorcycle drives up, and there's these two people on it, a woman and the director of Deadpool 2, David Leitch? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Anyway, yeah, it's the director of Deadpool 2 in an episode of Power Rangers. That's really interesting. Anyway, he really wants to start a fight, and his girlfriend wants him to start a fight because, I don't know. So anyway, he knows that Chad is the Blue Ranger, and he wants to challenge him. Because, I don't know, he's just kind of a jerk. He's a general jerk. Anyway, Chad is trying to talk his way out of it. He doesn't want to start anything. Kelsey wants to start something. She's ready to go kick his butt in. And Chad's like, no, calm down. And so they get ready to leave, which, if you're in a situation like this, is like what you should do. And, you know, it's interesting that in this season, they don't have the rule, don't escalate a fight. But he's actually doing a good job of keeping true to that, which I think is also partially a martial arts, like, philosophical thing, and also just common sense. Like, if you're confronted with someone antagonistic like that, the best thing to do is just try to leave. Because you don't know what is going on with them. Anyway, he doesn't want to leave. He wants to keep getting at Chad, but then they get a call from Lightspeed, and then, boom, they're gone. And, what's his name? Brian. That's the name of the guy that the Deadpool 2 director plays. Anyway, he wants to hunt down Chad. He still wants to fight because he's a jerk. And anyway, the Rangers go fight this monster, Smogger. Oh, that's something. At the beginning of the episode, somewhere, we see the monsters actually make Smogger. And then that's it. We don't see them again at all. It's so weird early on in Lightspeed. We don't see the villains, like, nearly at all. I'm wondering what the story was. Did they not have all the suits over? Or did they only have Vipra's suit? Because Vipra does a lot. But the other monsters, we see, like, very quick little flashes of them. Like, the villain's plot early in Lightspeed pretty much goes like this. Impus is crying. The others are annoyed by it. One of them says, hey, let's make a monster. Jinxer, take this card, make a monster. Okay, yeah, monster. And so then Jinxer will make the monster. And there, that's it. Oh, and the monster actually says his name, Smogger, so that's why I know his name. And so, let's see. I have it written down here. Okay, so Smogger has just blown up a building, and the Rangers are coming in to rescue the people inside, put out the fires outside. Oh, and there's a cool scene. We actually see inside the building, there's like a guy trapped under rubble trying to reach out, which is pretty extreme for Power Rangers. We don't often see, like, the turnout of, like, how, like, violence will turn out. I can't think of the word. The outcome of the actions caused by the monsters. So anyway, they save the people, they put out the fire, and then the Rangers are congratulating each other, and Carter noogies Kelsey. Very weird. And it's strange, because that scene, it comes from the Sentai, it's Sentai footage, it makes sense there. The Red Ranger's a bit more playful in that version. He's not the serious, stoic Carter Grayson from Lightspeed. He's a more, like, chill guy. And it's so weird. Why did they keep it? It's like the scene in, I think it was Car Ranger, where the Green Ranger, like, spins around, and they kept it. It didn't make any sense. Like, the Rangers are all lining up, then Adam just suddenly spins around for no reason, and it's never referenced. There's nothing to... And the weird thing is that the last couple episodes, one of the things I really noticed was, especially during the fight scenes, they did a really great job of, like, they would reshoot some scenes that wouldn't work, like if there's, like, I don't know, the Japanese actors in the back who are too noticeable, or Like, if there was just an insert shot that just wasn't there in the Japanese version, they needed over here, they did a really good job of reshooting scenes, making new scenes, and then editing them together with the Japanese footage, and it just flows seamlessly. In here, they could have cut this scene. Like, they could have, like, reshot the scene to be Carter not noogieing Kelsey, but, like, just saying, that was good work, or something, and they didn't. And I don't know why. Anyway, the Smogger monster shows up, and then Carter has a really weird line. I can't remember what he says, like, "What are you doing here?" or something. Like, what do you think he's doing here? He's a monster. He's gonna destroy stuff. But the way he says it, he says the monster's name, and that made me think, was there an earlier scene that was deleted where Carter runs into the monster? Because at the beginning, we're with Chad and Kelsey, we're not with the other Rangers. So it's possible the other Rangers had an encounter with Smogger before they did. I don't know, it's just a weird thing I thought of. So anyway, fight goes on with Smogger. Let me see this thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a weird thing. Smogger has a weird ability. He can turn into a ball, and then he rolls away. Chad and Kelsey chase after him. He hides out in this, I don't know, like, shed for state vehicles or something? I don't know what it is. Anyway, they're firing into the building. I guess there's a fire that starts in the building somehow. I don't know. Anyway, Kelsey runs up to go into the building and finish him off, and then Chad warns, wait, there could be a backdraft, and I had to look this up. What's a backdraft? Now, what happens in the episode, she opens a door, the flames all, like, get sucked into the back, and then push forward, and boom, right in their faces. So I looked it up, and a backdraft, let's see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. A backdraft is when all oxygen is in an enclosed area is depleted by fire, and when a sudden new source of oxygen is introduced, it causes an explosion. Okay. Well, that's a cool little bit of information to know. I didn't know what that was. So anyway, let's see. Oh yeah, that guy Brian was spying on everything going on here. Okay. So anyway, he sees the monster, knock them out. I'm trying to remember, did he follow them here, or was he already there and he just happens to... I can't remember now. Anyway, Smogger goes to tell Vipra that he took out 2 Rangers, and so Brian follows him. He pledges allegiance to Vipra, but that's not good enough. She blows this magic blue stuff at him, and that turns him evil, and it... Let's see. Or, well... It turns him evil, or or it turns him from a jerk to being evil, like magnifying his rage. It reminds me of, like, in the Majin Buu saga of Dragon Ball. See, Babidi the Wizard could, control people, but they had to already be evil. So what he does is he finds evil people and then, like, magnifies the rage inside of them or whatever. So anyway, that's what Vipra does to Brian, and, let's see, it kind of reminds me of Jin Makoto, is it Makoto, or, now I can't remember what his last name was, Maboto? Something. Anyway, Jin from Die Ranger. In Die Ranger, there's an assassin who's corrupted by, or well, I don't know if you can corrupt a bad guy into being more bad, but anyway, he teams up with the bad guys, turn him into a crazy monster, and that's kind of what Brian in this episode reminds me of, and I wondered if they took any influence, because they have at other times in the Power Ranger series taken elements from a previous series to utilize in a current series. So it's possible Jin was the inspiration for Brian, although Brian isn't as nearly as bad as Jin is. He's not a deadly assassin, and he doesn't do the coin flip thing that Jin did. He doesn't turn into a crazy skeleton monster. There's no bloody battles with him. He's just a jerk who becomes a bigger jerk. So anyway, let's see. Kelsey winds up in the hospital from her injuries, and Chad is really bummed about it, and he feels responsible, which is a really weird part of the episode, because it never comes back, and he doesn't really have any reason to feel responsible for it. I don't know, it was just a weird thing. It felt like kind of a cliche bit, like, if this was a newer Power Rangers season, like in one of the recent seasons, this would have been a major plot point, is Chad feeling sorry for himself. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, they go to fight the oh, yeah. The Rangers get a call to fight the monster, and Chad's going out, and he sees this Batling holding a thing and, like, motioning to him. He goes over, the Batling hands him the thing. It's a message from Brian, written out in some crazy font. And there's a really cool camera bit here. There's a hole in the paper the Batling gives Chad. The camera is looking through the hole at Chad's face. That was a really cool little touch. Anyway, he follows the Batling, and we see Brian is training with some Batlings and Vipra, and Vipra brought along her Viprari. That's a neat little touch, that she keeps her car with her, or her go-kart, whatever. Anyway, Brian challenges Chad. Chad doesn't want to fight. He's trying to convince him to join the good guys, stop working with the bad guys, and Brian doesn't want to listen. Meanwhile, the Rangers are fighting Smogger. Then back to Brian and Chad's fight. Chad is finally able to get through to Brian, and Vipra intervenes. The Batlings grab Chad, and she's like, she's still trying to keep Brian evil, kill him. And so he gets ready, and then he punches the Batling, and then that frees Chad. Then him and Chad team up. They take out the Batlings, and then Vipra retreats in her Viprari, and it's really funny for some reason. We see Chad and Brian, and we just hear Vipra in the background revving up the engine. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And we don't see it. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that was really, really funny, just to have her drive away, but we don't see any of it. Anyway, so Chad goes back to join the Rangers. They beat Smogger, and one of the really nice things, there's no Megazord fight this episode, which is kind of weird to say, because I really like the Megazord fights, especially the formation sequence in Lightspeed, but it is like kind of a plot padding type of thing, like, and it's a problem Power Rangers has had from the beginning. Like, they defeat the monster, but then the monster comes back, they have to get the Megazord, form the Megazord, defeat the monster again, and, like, sometimes it works, and it works really well, like, in, a lot of Mighty Morphin episodes, it works really well. But a lot of the times, especially when there's a bigger plot going on, it just feels like padding, and it just feels like, come on, get back to the real story. Like, yeah, this looks cool, but it doesn't mean anything. It's hollow. So I do like that there's no Megazord fight here, even though, like, it does look nice, and I do enjoy it when it's there, but I understand that for plot reasons. Anyway, let's see. Oh, yeah. They defeat Smogger. Chad and Kelsey are hanging out in the park, and they see Brian jogging by with a bunch of kids, and it turns out he's turned over a new leaf. He's a good guy now. I thought that was kind of weird. Where's the woman who was with him at the beginning? Was she his girlfriend? Did he dump her? Like, I would have liked to see some follow-up with her, or like a slower transition to him being a nice guy, because this just feels a little too quick, like a little... But it is Power Rangers, it's a kid's show, like, everything has to be resolved by the end. It's very simple. But yeah, it would have been nice to have, like, a scene where Brian goes to his girlfriend, and she's like, so, did you fight him yet, or something? And he's like, you know what, fighting shouldn't be everything, and either she comes around and sees it, like, to be a nice person, or if she continues being, like, no, you have to go fight someone to impress me, then have him dump her. I think that would have been a nice little thing, but it's not there. Anyway, it's not too important, but yeah. Anyway, it's a good episode. Not an amazing episode. It's really goofy. The acting is awkward. Early Power Rangers, Actually, the acting's awkward all throughout the series, but it doesn't bother me that much. I mean, acting's awkward in big movies. But yeah, decent episode, goofy episode. It's a good one. I'm trying to think if there's anything more I can say about it. Not really. Yeah, so, yeah. See ya.